What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the XoneBros. Let's switch this camera over to me. I am Mr. McSpicy. Welcome to podcast number 356 of the XoneBros. Actually, believe it or not, we are still running the show, but we had one of our members just have a family emergency happen. And then, so David had to leave for the night, and then Jordan said he had to go pee. So today you get to just talk to me until Jordan gets back. Anyways, welcome everybody. Let's get this stuff out of the way. Why we're doing this? Let's talk about the Game Club of the month. Hey Jordan, welcome back.
Oh wait,
man,
did you start the show?
The show has started. Yeah, right when I started it, you left.
Oh,
so
I didn't know you were starting it. Hello, everyone.
Yes, hello. The Game Club Game of the Month for our community is Outriders. I'm hoping everybody's enjoying that. I think it's a great game. Jordan, what do you think about that game and the patches and everything that's happening?
No, it's really fun.
I got to switch. You're on David's camera now.
Oh, that's right. I'm over here.
There's a lot of things.
So, no, yeah, it's really fun. I'm enjoying the game. One thing I do like about it is there was a patch this week that came out that I know is controversial between players, but we'll. Oh yeah! Oh, wow, he's way over here. Sorry, guys. I don't know if Mark explained. David's not here today, so we're trying to. A lot of things happened in between the pre-show and the actual show. So we're trying to figure things out, but I think we're gonna get back on track.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna do it. So, Outriders, I'm really enjoying it. So it's on Game Pass. It's free to play if you have Game Pass. It's only on Game Pass for console, but if it were me, I think it's worth the $60. I'm really enjoying it. I know the patch came out this week that is kind of controversial between players.
Yeah, we were talking about that at the beginning of the show.
There was some nerfs that went on. There was some arguments between some of the community of the game saying the developers shouldn't balance the game on the streamer level. They should, there's a lot of stuff. We won't get too into it, but as the game stands, I'm really enjoying it. I like it a lot. I actually really like the difficulty of the game. Mm-hmm. So what the game does is there's world tiers, just kind of like Division. They had their world tiers. The game auto levels up your world tier for you as you progress through the game. Now you can always turn it down for a little bit easier experience, but I suggest just playing at that top tier world tier because one, you get better loot, you level up faster, all that stuff. But the difficulty of the game, I was streaming it this week and I had to tell people, don't let my frustrations show my feelings of the game, because even though there was super frustrating times, the game is really fun and I like the difficulty curve of it. I like that it's hard. It's a good time. It's a good time. I like the story. The story is very intriguing. I'm actually on a quest line I'm taking my time through this game. I'm on a quest line right now where I'm learning more about certain side characters, which I find fascinating. I'm going into kind of forbidden places to learn more about myself, if you will.
Sure.
I'm basically on a Luke Skywalker mission right now. I'm going to Dagobah to learn more about myself. That's actually exactly what kind of mission I'm on right now.
Good for you.
It's a side quest, but it's a really cool game. I really enjoyed it. It is Game Club of the Month.
Yeah.
And it's a fun time.
So everybody should, it's on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. So everybody, if you have Game Pass, you can download that. Hop on our Discord channel. There is a specific channel specific for that game and talking about it. A lot of people are really good at not giving spoilers, so it's a good time.
And then also, just a reminder, we do have streams Monday and Wednesdays with myself and sometimes the bros, depending on what we're playing.
Yeah.
But every Monday and Wednesday evening, we stream games right here on the YouTube channel. And then we have an announcement for next week.
Correct.
That if you guys want to tune in for, something the fan base has been requesting for quite some time. So be sure to tune into that, and I think you guys will like it.
Can I mention, so even before we get into the whole show, we do a pre-show before the podcast on YouTube live, right? We broadcast this live, but we also do a pre-show beforehand. And we just barely introduced this like call-in thing for our pre-show, the people that are live. And we were able to talk to some people in the community live on the pre-show It was really, really fun. Discord
Yeah.
just released a way to do that, and I had a really good time. I
Yeah.
wanted to point that
It's basically, think of it as calling into your favorite radio station.
radio
That's
station
really what it is.
with us.
It's a very cool feature where you can jump into the Discord channel and we can bring you on stage is what it's called,
Yeah.
and then you can talk to us, ask us questions. We did it today as a test. We do it for our YouTube members.
Yes.
Correct? So if you're a YouTube member, feel free to jump in. You'll be able to raise your hand and ask a question every week during the pre-show.
The pre-show. Pre-show. Yeah, usually we have a pre-show, the main show, and then a post-show where we party. But yeah, that's that. So with David gone, do you want to be the host or do you want me to be the host?
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
give it a shot.
have-
You did it last time.
Every time I
you
do
did
it,
last time. I'll do it this time, and then next week we'll have the fans vote.
yeah, okay.
And then
No,
we'll replace David.
I don't want my confidence to be crippled on a vote. So every time I do it, the show just goes to hell.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do?
All right. So you lead,
So-
man. You lead.
So this week,
Yeah.
there's some stuff that happened in Xbox.
Yeah.
So, if no one heard Kojima, does everybody know who Hideo Kojima is? He's the creator of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
And he's a very talented game developer. His latest game was called Death Stranding, which was a PS5 exclusive. It was definitely... I liked the idea of the game. I thought it was different and unique.
Mm-hmm.
There were some people that didn't like it. He's definitely got a very specific style, and I do like that Hideo Kojima is not afraid to try things.
Well,
He's not
he's-
afraid to be different.
He's
For
like
sure.
he's like the jazz of game development.
Yeah, he
right?
is. Yeah.
Once you get a taste and once you understand and you get that, that acquired taste for it, you really like his stuff.
Yeah, it is.
But if you're just jumping in, it can be weird.
Like, Mark, you remember the first time you jumped into Metal Gear Solid, which is a Hideo Kojima game?
It is, yes. And I thought I was getting into like a Clancy sneaking game, which it was. But then Robot Wieners came out of nowhere.
Flying little girls, and it was, yeah.
And I was shocked. I had not heard that style of music before.
Yeah.
but once you understand, oh, this guy's weird and makes great games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
so-
definitely some, I don't know, what would you call it, fantasy or science fiction to the Metal Gear Solid franchise. The storyline is, but anyway, getting into it, this is why we're talking about him. So he traditionally is a PlayStation developer. He's all his games minus Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, came pretty much exclusively to PlayStation. He may have done a couple Nintendo games here and there. I think they re-released Metal Gear Solid 2 that eventually came to the 360 marketplace. But primarily what we're getting at is all his major first-party games that he creates are generally coming over to the PlayStation. Now, Jeff Grubb at VentureBeat reports that Microsoft is currently in discussion with Kojima to publish his next game. Grubb elaborates that he's not sure if this deal has yet been signed, but that discussions are absolutely taking place. If this is the case...
Wow.
Yeah, if this is the case, it seems like it would be an Xbox global publishing deal, meaning Kojima's next game might be an exclusive to the Xbox Series X, Series S, and PC. It would also almost certainly be a new IP since Sony and Konami own Death Stranding and the Metal Gear Solid series, respectively. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Hideo Kojima used to work for Konami. He left after the final Metal Gear Solid game, and I believe his company is called Kojima Productions.
Yes.
Which is what made Death Stranding. But like you said, Jeff Grubb at VentureBeat said that Sony owns the rights to Death Stranding, so we're not going to see that. But a completely new IP, exclusive to the Xbox.
I mean, this is
If that happened, I mean,
well, this is right after the news where we just had, MLB The Show get, on Game Pass, right? So it's like Microsoft is making moves. They've been making moves for a long time. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. This may not seem like a big deal, but that's a really, he's a big player in the Sony world.
He is. I would put him up there with Yoshi P, who is the game director of Final Fantasy XIV, who I think is a fantastic game director. I would put him up there.
And you respect him a lot because how he does things. Yeah,
I do. And I would also put him up there with Todd Howard, who, whether people like it or not, is also an excellent game developer. I mean, I think these three guys, and there's some more out there, but we'll just talk about these three for now. I think they're kind of your top tier of game developers. I mean, they know what it takes to make a fun game.
Yeah.
They're not all of them I think aren't afraid to do things out of the box or do things that people aren't expecting or just try something new. Like, for example, let's take Todd Howard.
Sure.
I know Fallout 76 wasn't everybody's favorite. It necessarily wasn't my favorite either. I think there's a lot of stuff they could have done to make it better. There's a lot of stuff they did do to make it better. But what I like is they weren't afraid. Well, I mean, I don't know if people might disagree with me. People might just say it was a money grab. It may have well been. I don't know. But I like that, Fallout is a good series. Hey, let's make it multiplayer. What I like about it is they didn't. It's not like they're replacing the core Fallout series with this new multiplayer experience. This is just a side thing that they're trying. I like that they're trying to do different things. I like that they're, some people may disagree with me and say, oh, Fallout 76 was just a money grab, which it very well may have been. But I had fun with Fallout 76. I do have fun with Fallout 76 more now than at launch because they've made a lot of good changes to it. But anyway, same with Final Fantasy 14. I think these are, I think these guys. These are the guys.
Big moves.
Yeah, these are the guys.
These are the guys.
These are the guys. Imagine if they all went to dinner together.
What would they order?
I know, yeah. But what's really cool about this is, like you said,
Howard would get a ribeye.
I think he would. Yeah, I think he's a meat guy.
Yeah,
yeah. So
the others would get sushi. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. If this is true and this comes to pass, he says it may be an Xbox global publishing deal, which in my mind's eye, I would assume that it would be a Game Pass. It would come to Game Pass
absolutely.
Day one because
100%.
it's Xbox publishing, right?
Yeah,
and that's their thing.
That they would not be having this discussion without that in mind.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Now here's my question.
Yeah.
We all know Metal Gear Solid now. We definitely know Death Stranding. What do you think his next idea for his next game would be if it did come to Xbox?
So you're asking me to kind of dissect the mind that created baby umbilical cords that you had, oils coming from the sky with little flashy things and really big backpacks.
And the actor from Walking Dead.
Yeah. You're asking me to try to figure out that guy's mind.
What's next?
I have no idea. Whatever it is, it's going to be A, shocking, B, probably... not probably, extremely intriguing, interesting, unique. Everything that he does is, the guy's a rock star, right?
Yeah, he really is.
All three of those guys are rock stars.
They are.
So,
they are.
Yeah.
So I would also put as excellent game developers up there, just as we're talking about it, since we're a gaming podcast, I would put Jeff Kaplan up there.
Sure.
I think he's a very talented game developer.
What I like about him is just how open he is. On why he's doing what he's doing and the difficulties and the challenges they're having. And I love love it. And Overwatch is a great game.
Yeah, he's the head guy over Overwatch right now, which is doing really well. I just re-downloaded it because I got my 30th anniversary Blizzard pack that I got this week. So I got a bunch of free loot boxes.
I have almost I think I have over 400 unopened loot boxes that I have not purchased, that I have just got from leveling up in that game.
And I would also mention in this group over at Blizzard as well, you turned me on to him.
I love turning you on, Jordan.
I didn't know who he was until you told me about him, but is it Ben Brode? He was the one of the original Hearthstone guys.
Yeah.
I think he did a really good job with Hearthstone.
Excellent
during his period while he was there. So.
Yeah, I really like Ben Brode a lot too. I think he's gone and done his own...
Doing his own thing now, yeah.
I think all those Blizzard guys are kind of starting their own...
Doing their own stuff, like Chris Metzen, Mike Morheim, But anyway, I think Hideo Kojima is up there with those guys, with Todd Howard, with Yoshi P, with Jeff Kaplan. I think he's an excellent game developer, and if this is true, this not only is awesome for us, because we're going to get a new game from Kojima Productions, but I think that's good for Xbox. That's a huge move, because that was... And from what I understand... Hideo Kojima was very friendly. Like, he's very Sony. He's very friendly to Sony. That's where he wants his, you know what I mean? Like, he had not that he doesn't like any of the other consoles, but that just he had a very good relationship with them. So bringing him over to Xbox would be phenomenal.
No, yeah. Well, as Sony developers, I don't know them personally, right? But Sony is, and the fan base and everything, they're very loyal to Sony.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that's one of the reasons the original Xbox had such a hard time getting into Japan. I don't even think they were able to sell 5 consoles in Japan.
I even
right?
think I don't know what the numbers are on the Series X, but I would venture to say they're not as high as obviously the PlayStation in Japan.
Yeah, absolutely not. But they're higher than the OG Xbox because they're very, very, very loyal, right? So, anyways, I think that's a big grab.
Yeah.
It's weekly now. I keep
like,
saying this. Who else is left?
Every week you say who else is left, and they're listening to Microsoft, and they're like, "Well, we could get this guy."
You know what it is? I think it's just they have a dartboard in their office. Phil Spencer does. He's all right, thunk. Hideo Kojima. Let's go for that guy.
Let's see what he
wants. They
wants.
just have portraits of people up there on IPs. And
dude, I will say this. It just goes to show you that money can get you anything. I think the last couple of months has shown us that given these are rumors, right? But with the Kojima stuff, with the Discord stuff that we talked about last week, with the Bethesda acquisition the ZeniMax acquisition that they got.
Yeah.
One day I'll have that much money.
I like to think so, but as I'm getting older and older, outlook
closer.
doesn't look good.
Oh, that's funny. Anyway, very cool. Hopefully we'll get to learn more about this. I assume probably maybe later in the year. We'll see. Right, nothing's confirmed right now. This is just Jeff Grubb over at VentureBeat saying that this is what he's hearing through the cracks. So very cool. Game Pass. Another big thing on Game Pass. Game Pass this week got GTA 5. Now you may think, Jordan, GTA 5 is really old. Why would I want to play that game? GTA 5 is one of the most popular games out right now. It is. I think that's a good grab for Game Pass, not just for GTA, but for GTA Online.
Oh, sure, you're going to have a whole bunch of new people playing.
A whole new influx of players coming.
Maybe
to GTA
not
Online.
even new. Maybe people that are just let's install this and play this again.
I think GTA 5...
Which is what I did like 3 weeks ago when we had that question on the show.
I think GTA 5 is getting to the point where they're getting close to being the game released on the most systems. I mean, you got Fortnite doing that. You got because GTA 5, if you don't remember, came out on the 360 and the PlayStation 3 towards the end of the life cycle, then came out on the 1 and the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
All their... series of consoles as well, and now on the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X.
And it has consistently stayed on the top 5 or top 10 of most downloaded and most played games on the list of...
I guarantee it's on the top 10 right now.
Yeah. So. If you have not played this game, which is not likely, but if you have not, it is now on Game Pass. And it is a really good game. The single player alone, David would say 1,000 times over, he loves a single player. I love the single player part of this game. The online was broken, sort of, when it started, but that was 10 years ago. So
it's better now?
It's way better now. And thanks to, I can't remember who asked that question about 3 weeks ago or a month ago. They called me out on not playing that game recently. And it is a lot better. And I think if you have a Series X, it is extremely faster.
Oh, yeah.
On loading times, which was a big deal at the time.
Because I first played this game on the 360, then I replayed it on the Xbox One, and now playing it again on the Series X, just because of the power of that hard drive. It is incredibly fast. You mentioned it the other week. You used to go into the sky and load and then come back down. You don't even go to the. You just go up, down. It's just you're in.
Far better. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the game without the new hardware. It is a very, very good game. I think it's one of the greatest. Rockstar is one of the greatest storytelling game developers out there. This is one of their trophies. There's a reason it's on top. It's a very fun game to play with friends.
I would put Rockstar in that group of developers that we just mentioned.
Yeah. They are excellent. There's a lot of humor. Even on the online, there's so much to do online. It's just a great game. So if you have not played Grand Theft Auto 5 yet, and you're over 18.
This is the one game where I'm usually pretty flexible, but this is the one game. I mean, I would say this with like The Witcher and stuff and Cyberpunk. Those you definitely need to be older to play. That's not a game you should let your kids play.
Yeah, but it is a very good game.
I think this again just reiterate. We say this every week because it's true, and they keep adding good stuff. But this just reiterates the value of Game Pass And I legitimately think Game Pass is literally the best deal in gaming.
Oh, no question. You can't even argue that.
I'm gonna let me tell a story about Game Pass. My younger brother is getting married this weekend, which is why things are probably
different.
Different because there's a lot going on this week on our side of the stuff. Like there's even Mark's busy at the wedding. He's doing all his. It's crazy.
Even me, and I'm a
I didn't mean that in a bad way, but even Mark's coming.
Even Mark is coming to this stupid thing.
Anyway, for his wedding gift, I got him 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate because it's such a good deal. So
you just bought him 300 games.
Yeah, and he's excited because he's a big fan of Battlefield 4, and EA just brought their stuff to the PC. So what he wants to do when he gets back from all his wedding stuff, or on his wedding, I don't know how hardcore of a gamer he is. He wants to play Battlefield 4 on the PC, which now he can do because we have it through Game Pass. It's such an incredible deal.
Yeah.
So anyway,
awesome.
and also speaking of Game Pass, over 50 games can now be played from the Android.
The Android.
Let me
an Android phone.
We really need David.
I know. What are we doing here?
Okay. On the phone, so the cloud, the xCloud, Game Pass for xCloud, or whatever you want to call it, there's 50 games that now have built-in controls on your phone. Now, this may be exciting to some, may not be exciting to other. I do think it's a good move by Microsoft to do it. Basically, you don't need a controller anymore. You can just use the phone, your phone. It'll just have they're touch controls essentially. There'll be joysticks and stuff. I've used these in different games. Some games are better than others. I've not tried it with these games, but it is now a feature on the mobile gaming side of Game Pass. There's going to be over 50 games that have this enabled that you can use if you want to. You're not being forced to use it. It's just a feature that can be used and is there. Games like Sea of Thieves, Gears 5, Hellblade, Celeste, Hello Neighbor, Yooka-Laylee, Dead Cells, and obviously a lot more because there's
50.
Over 50. But I think I think it was eventually coming anyway. I think it's just, again, if it's me, I'm playing with a controller because I don't necessarily like the touch controls on phones. I do think some games do it better than others, but this is now an option if you're, I don't know, standing in line at the airport and you forgot your Xbox controller, you can at least still play. So, which is really cool. Also kind of goes to the discussion, I think it was either last week or the week before, we talked about how Nintendo dominates the mobile market or the handheld market. I think this is a move. I don't think Xbox is ever going to dominate the handheld market, but I do think this is a move to further put themselves in that space.
For sure. And what's kind of genius about this is they're doing this and not alienating their competition.
Yeah, because you can still use a controller. You can still click it onto your phone, do whatever you want. It's just an additional feature.
Yeah, well, I think because Xbox is becoming really good friends with Nintendo. They've been doing a lot of things, bringing games like Octopath Traveler, for example. They have a version of Xbox Live sort of on the Switch now.
Well, even with Minecraft being crossplay, you sign in. Nintendo does allow you to sign into your Xbox profile when you jump into games like Minecraft to get that cross-play stuff going.
Correct. And so the genius behind this is they're going into, I would consider it kind of a Nintendo space without alienating them and still having good relations with them so that they can really, truly do what they're trying to do and make gaming one big pool of fun for wherever you are, regardless of what you play on to play, to play games.
Exactly.
Which that takes, usually when you go into, I think they probably, sorry, I keep going on tangents in my brain. I think they probably learned from when they started making hardware and offended all the hardware, all the hardware companies out there, right? Microsoft is like, well, what if we brought them along? What instead of competing, what if we combine it? What if we combined it? Kind of a thing. So that's the genius of it. But anyways.
Yeah. There is one cool feature about it. So I haven't used this feature yet. Like I said, this feature is not necessarily for me. If I'm going to play a game on my phone, I'm going to have a controller. I just prefer it. I used to, back in the day when I was in high school and college, I used to always have a deck of Magic cards in my center console of my car.
I still have.
Yeah. Because you never know when you're just going to need to play, right? now I actually have an Xbox controller in my car at all times because you just never know when you're gonna need to play.
I do too.
Oh yeah, so that's just how I. So this feature isn't necessarily for me, but there is a cool feature within this feature. You can somewhat, I'm not going to say fully customize, but you can somewhat customize the buttons and everything. They were showing how you can move them to different parts of the screen. Your kind of controls basically make it comfortable for you. They showed, I think it was Minecraft Dungeons they were using as an example. It showed the buttons on the screen. You can switch them, and you can customize the layout a little bit, which is nice. Just to make, customization is always good. But again, like I said, I don't think this is a feature for me, but I do see the value in having this on your games. And to start, we have over 50 games. I think at a certain point, it'll just become, a standard. I don't know if it's Microsoft does it and just overlays it like over the game, or if it's a game developer thing. You notice a lot of these games are Microsoft first party games. So
yeah.
So it's probably in the game itself. But again, I think it's a cool feature. I think you were right. How it whoever you are, wherever you are, you have an opportunity to play.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. But anyway, let's jump into the next section of our show.
Should I do the sound? Here we go. There it is.
How was that? How was that transition? Did we
you
do it
did
good?
really
Did we do
good.
it good.
Speaking of that, let's move on to the questions
speaking
part of the
that,
show.
Yeah, trying to be like David so the audience doesn't notice he's gone.
Yeah.
All right, first question is by Greg Pabin. Thank you for a positive gaming show. You're welcome.
Hey.
You're welcome.
Hey,
Thank
Greg,
you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
My family and I love Fusion Friendly, but dislike the second because they jumped the shark. What game? What? Oh, they jumped. Do you want to read this one?
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
Hold on. They love Fusion Frenzy, but they dislike the second. I don't know what it actually. They jumped the shark. What games did that for you? Maybe. I don't know what that means, but let's try to figure it out.
They jumped ship. I think
they jumped the ship. I don't know. I just let me bring up Fusion Frenzy, and I'll tell you why I like that game. Actually,
the first
I think,
one.
Yeah, the Fusion Frenzy first game. So I think I mentioned this last week. Remember when we were asked the question, what gaming part or what part of an amusement park would you turn into a gaming section? Or if it was a gaming amusement park, what would you have? And I chose Fusion Frenzy because that was a really long.
That was a good one.
Fusion Frenzy is an excellent game, and let's convert this question into not enjoying a sequel.
Yeah,
and,
I get what he's. Sorry, Greg, that we butchered that question. This is
you know what?
That's why we need David.
You know what? I'm going to actually blame David. I'm going to say he accidentally deleted some of the questions.
I think he copy and pasted that wrong.
Yeah,
so.
What an idiot.
Yeah,
David's
anyway.
an idiot.
No, I know exactly what game did it to me.
Yeah.
Going from Halo 3 to Halo 4. Halo 4 was such a detour of what the Halo franchise is.
Chat is so great. Hey, I want to point this out. Sorry, Jordan. I'm going to point this out. Chat just pointed out it's meant jump the shark is a term from television. Google it. So this is actually, I always tell people this.
Hey, it's not David's fault.
I am uncultured. And apparently Jordan is too. I thought he was way more cultured than me. I'm going to Google this while you go on what you were talking about, Jordan, because I want to see jumped the shark meaning. This is actually a good learning experience for me.
I assume it means like, you don't like the sequel.
Oh,
right?
Okay. Here we go. Jump the Shark. It's of a television series or movie when you reach a point at which the far-fetched events are included merely for the sake of novelty, indicative of a decline in quality.
So it's not like so decline in quality, right? Kind of.
So it becomes so outlandish just for the sake of being outlandish and not fun, I guess.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I learned something today. Anyways,
that's really good. I'm still going to use Halo as an example.
Okay.
But going from Halo 3 to Halo 4 was such a huge... it was jarring. The reason it was jarring is because I feel like Halo 4 tried to be more like Call of Duty. They tried to bring in that crowd, and I think it took away from what Halo is, right? Because if you've played Halo 3 and if you play Halo 4, there is a very distinct difference between the multiplayer, the gameplay, everything, right? It was definitely a shift towards that Call of Duty audience, Halo 5, I do think brought it back. At that point, you had both crowds, like some that liked Halo 4, some that didn't like Halo 4. So now you're in the situation of like, how do we balance both? I do think Halo 5 is one of the better ones. I like that Halo 5 went back to skill. As opposed to, it was just, here's your weapons, power weapon in the middle, go.
Start on both sides,
yeah,
go.
I really liked Halo 5 multiplayer. But anyway, Halo 4 just, it felt jarring to me, and it's the least played Halo game for me in the franchise. It just, I mean, maybe this jumping that's so outlandish, it declines in quality. Even the single player, we actually just recently replayed through the single player.
Yeah.
They did some stuff that I wasn't a fan of. I mean, I don't know. It was just, to me, for me personally, it was Halo 3 to Halo 4. That was my...
Can I say what I think it was? It was loadouts. I think not having the same...
Yeah, loadouts and multiplayer.
Yeah, I think not having the same... Being on the same field.
Yeah.
Well, it was loadouts with abilities, essentially. Yeah. I mean, Call of Duty, you kind of... They were trying to be Call of Duty, and in Call of Duty, you try to get the upper hand by the amount of time you play and unlock certain attachments, certain weapons, which is a great formula for that game. But Halo wasn't that, and they tried to do that, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And then even if you go to the campaign, the story's not bad. It's actually a fairly decent story, but they did a lot of stuff that confused even some lore people. I mean, I feel like I know. I'm not a lore master of Halo, but I feel like I know a decent amount. And they did stuff to where you kind of have to go to outside sources to understand what was going on a little bit, or have huge explanations, which is what we had in the game to kind of figure out what's going on. It's just, I felt like, I think this does fit the jump the shark term, because I felt like just because you have a giant budget to do everything doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make a great game. Because let's be honest, Halo 4 looked phenomenal. It played really smooth. The gameplay smoothness was good. The graphics for the 360 were wow,
amazing.
You know what I mean? Given we're at the end of a generation and the games are more optimized at that point, but still they were fantastic. I think this just goes to show, just because you have a huge team, a huge franchise, a huge budget, doesn't necessarily mean your game is going to be the best, right? So anyway, that's my game. Do you have a Halo 3 to 4?
I kind of do. I would say the original Ninja Gaiden from the OG Xbox to Ninja Gaiden 2.
Yeah, because the original was very brutal.
It was very difficult. I really enjoyed it. One of the hardest ending sequences of any game I've ever played. Like, it just kept being another boss, another boss, another boss, and another boss. But then Ninja Gaiden 2, just it was theoretically on paper should have been awesome, because you're a badass ninja.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's how Halo 4 was. That's how Halo 4 was, right? On paper.
On paper it works well, but it really didn't. I'm gonna flip this, and I'm gonna say, what is a game that was, I would consider really, really good that you enjoyed, and then the sequel was even better?
I would say Halo 1 to 2.
Yeah, I would totally agree.
I would also say Call of Duty Modern Warfare to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
Because I felt like that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was an excellent sequel, because they basically just upped everything. More perks, more maps, gameplay was much smoother. It was just it was a refined version.
And in Halo 2, I mean, that was like the birthplace of Xbox Live, how we see it now.
But
right?
see, and again, I think Halo 2 was again a refined version of Halo 1, because it didn't take anything away from Halo 1. It took everything it did good and made it better.
Can I say also? I mean, I'm thinking of a whole bunch of games now. Donkey Kong Country, to Donkey Kong Country 2 on the Super Nintendo. Amazing first game, and those graphics. It may not look as good as you think now, but compare the graphics to every other game, and to have that full rendering monkey
just run from the side.
Blew my mind. Oh man, I was actually going back and watching old commercials. Video game commercials, and Nintendo or Super Nintendo had some good ones, and that's a good commercial where they show the monkeys are pre-rendered, and it's like the most amazing game in the world,
the most amazing monkeys you've ever seen.
Commercials were so cool. Like,
I feel like we've actually we've gotten lazy with our commercials.
I think so,
especially our drug commercials. I think the cracked egg from the 90s was the best "Don't Do Drugs" commercial we had.
I agree, and then like the sequel to that was the guy that's like going underneath the guy's bed and he's all, "Where did you get this?" And the kid's like, "I learned it from watching you, Dad. I learned it from watching you." Remember that commercial?
The over dramatized. I was great.
They really, well, because back
The
then
90s brought a lot of good stuff to the world.
it wasn't a dartboard. They weren't trying to get as many people in the circle as possible. You know, like there's this group, this group. They knew exactly who they were targeting.
Yeah.
I wanted a Super Nintendo because of how awesome it was. And then I wanted a Sega because Sonic was fast. And
Yeah,
those
I
commercials
actually-
targeted me.
Tangent, if you have, is it Paramount Plus or HBO Max? I think it's Paramount Plus. There's actually a documentary on Paramount Plus. I've not watched it all. I've watched the first half of it called Console Wars.
Yeah.
And it's about Sega going up against Nintendo. It's super fascinating so far.
Well, their commercials were like, I remember the Mario Kart commercial. And it made me like, I really enjoyed Mario Kart. And I'm like, oh man, maybe I should get a Sega. because it was Mario Kart going ding 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 ding. They're on like a 50cc, just like ding 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 ding, and then it shows Sonic, you know, and then showing Mario Kart. Like man, the commercial's right. That guy is faster
That
than a
guy's
Mario
fast,
than a kart, right?
I think my favorite commercial, since we're talking about it, was I think it was the GameCube era, but when they were coming out with the new Mario Party games. It was all the Nintendo. So you know, like when what a mascot looks like when he's dressed up.
Yeah.
So they were dressed up as Nintendo characters, and what they would do is they'd have like American Gladiator like sticks, and it'd be like Waluigi and Peach on the roof of just a normal house, like hitting each other.
So that's
and
what
then
I'm talking about.
one would fall down and die, and it says Mario Party. Like it was a really good commercial.
They knew what they were doing
Yeah.
back then. They weren't trying to get everyone involved. It was very specific to very specific
Anyway,
groups.
Greg, thank you so much for the question. Moving on to
and I apologize
Yeah.
that I did not know what that term was, jumping the shark.
that was not X1's fault. That was us just not knowing.
No, I'm going to
stuff.
blame him.
Okay. So Joshua Adam writes in. He says, "Hey bros, love the podcast. Thank you very much. My question is this. What previous gen game is missing from back and pat list that you want added? One of my favorite campaigns from the 360 gen was the original Homefront game. But it's not on the back and pat list, so I just can't play it anymore unless I buy another 360 as mine is broken. Thank you guys and keep up the good work."
Good question.
You go first, Mark.
Yeah, well,
Because I got to think.
well, I know. Well, I don't know what ones are on and which ones are off. But I'm going to bring up that Homefront game because you and David are jerks. We got that game, and you guys thought it was...
No. We got Frontlines.
Oh.
Homefront is a different one. But I know which game you're talking
Yeah,
about.
where you got me to buy a game, and then you just teamed up on me the whole time.
Yeah, that was good.
And yeah, my teammate. That I didn't want to play games for like you. You know what that did to me?
Teammate.
Yeah, that game did not go well. It made me not want to play games for like a week.
We were laughing pretty hard because what we did is it was me and David versus Mark and your teammate, and we could only talk to each other in the pre-match lobby, and then it would go into game and split our chats.
Yeah.
And then we'd come back, and that was some of the best banter.
Well, because they're in the other room. This is like they're in the other room. I'm in my room, and it was bullying. It was like
was
my
virtual- it was
it
the
was
first
virtual
virtual
bullying
bullying.
in a shooter. I was really pissed that I couldn't do anything, and you guys would use abilities, and then you would kill me, and then in the other room, I could hear David.
Got him.
God, what an idiot! Oh man,
Frontlines Fuel of War. I feel like that was a little bit of an underrated game, and I wouldn't mind seeing that one come to the back compat list.
yeah.
You know what games I would like to see though?
What?
I would like to see. I believe they were on the original Xbox, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would like to see GTA Vice City. I would like to see
Yes.
San Andreas, and I would like to see 3. I don't know if 3, but let's just start with GTA Vice City. Vice City was my favorite.
I loved Vice City.
I would like to see that come.
Do you know what was, I think, groundbreaking that game did at the time? That I don't know of any other game.
Real estate?
Well, yeah, that was cool. But on the OG Xbox, you could put in your music on a CD, and you could rip it right to the hard drive of the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Xbox was basically just Microsoft just put together a computer that looked like a VCR,
Yeah.
put an X on it, and that was their gaming system. Even the controllers that you plugged in were just like modified USB cables. Anyways, since you could rip your own music to the Xbox itself, now this is before Pandora, this is before Spotify, this is before YouTube, this is before any way to get like online music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Napster was around. I don't know. I think Napster was around at the time, which is another funny story too. But you could rip your CDs onto the Xbox, and this is the first time that I took a game and then had some of my personal music taste reflected in a game. You could change the radio station on GTA Vice City, and it would go to your music that you recorded on your
like
Xbox.
your radio station.
And it was my radio station, my own personal radio station. I thought that was one of the coolest things any game has ever done. Groundbreaking. Really cool to have your own music while you're driving around, and the music in that game was outstanding anyways. It was very 80s feel, very cool vibe. Another Rockstar game that I am really, really impressed with, right? So
mine would be Vice City too then.
Another one from Rockstar.
Another one from Rockstar, yeah.
They're so good. The Warriors.
I've not played that game. I've seen the movie.
Yeah, the movie. I played the game before I even saw the movie, and then I saw the movie, and it made the game even more incredible for me. The Warriors is like a 1979 movie about a gang in New York based in Coney Island that was... they were accused for murder, which they didn't do, and all the other gangs... The whole movie is them trying to get back to their home turf. And Rockstar made a game around that movie. It's brilliant how they did it. They made a game around that movie where it fills in the gaps of the scenes from that movie. Fascinating game. One of my favorite games of all time. I would love to see that one.
That's a good one.
And a backwards compatible. Do they even they have some OGs, right? I don't know.
Yeah, there's some. So there's the 360 back compat, and then they do go all the way back to the original Xbox.
That's the one I want.
The original Xbox does have a slimmer library of back compat games, but
that's a good question.
Yeah, it really is. Blake Densley writes in. That is Barbara Blake, I believe.
It is. Yes, it is.
Sorry, you were looking at the page. I was like, is it not?
No, I'm reading the question.
Barbara Blake writes in and asks, if you could only play one game genre the rest of your life, what would you play? You can play all the games in that genre and all future games. I think I'd be a platformer guy. I know what I would be.
What would you be?
I would be an MMO. I would be an MMO, hands down.
You said that in such a way that made me any other answer, I'm going to feel stupid.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'd be an MMO is, one, I love the genre. I still get to play with people. It's got PvP. It's got RPG. It's got good story. I can play all the games in the genre. They're continuously coming out with expansions. I just think it's a good hit.
I agree.
So,
well, when you say it like that, any other answer I would.
It's kind of like the desert island question, right? What video game would you play for the rest of your life on a desert island?
I'm gonna say single player RPG. So suck it.
Yeah. So I got multiplayer RPG.
I don't like people, but I like good story, and I think single player RPGs do a really good job at story.
Yeah,
and action RPGs like The Witcher.
Yeah, that's excellent. See, that's my favorite game of all time. Maybe I should have picked that one.
No, yeah, see now,
but
you know
the thing is you can make any one of those games into an MMO.
Hey, that's not the question. Yeah. Don't go out of bounds here.
Thank you, Barbara Blake, for writing it in. Captain Obvious has a really good question. Question for all of us. What is your all-time favorite and emotional campaign game? For me, it's Gears 3.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Do you mind if I go first?
Yeah.
I honestly am probably going to have to agree with Captain Obvious. Gears 3, about halfway through the campaign, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. The overall story of Gears 1, 2, and 3, I think, was just excellent. Gears 3 campaign was very emotional for me, and I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to have to pick that one as well.
So, I have to agree.
Yeah.
And the reason I have to agree, I've told this story on the podcast before years ago, but when I played that, and I know exactly what part you're talking about, this is the only game where I put down my controller, stared at my screen, and then I went and found my wife, and I tried to explain it to her, the whole story, the whole thing that's going on, and then I sat her down and I had her watch the cutscenes, right? She's like, "Oh, this is great, dear."
Yeah, it was.
That's the only game where I've tried really hard to explain what's going on.
There's the reason it's so good, and I think that because there's stuff that happens. This is the only game that I probably won't spoil, even though it's been over 10 years, just because it's so incredibly good, and I want people to experience it for the first time one of these days. But the reason why it's so good is because there's certain characters that do things in Gears 3 that are really emotional. But the reason they're so emotional is because of the character development and setup that you got from those characters in Gears 2. Because in Gears 2, there's also things that happen. Because I would put Gears up there, because there's a part in Gears 2 where certain characters have to do certain things that tear you apart. But it's like he has to do it. Like, you know, it's just... the Gears franchise, 1, 2, and 3, storytelling... 1 was probably I would say the weakest storytelling because it was the first one. 2 and 3 really, not to say 1 was bad. The story was still good in 1. Well, but it was the first game, right?
It was the first game.
They're still finding
kind of a product of its time and kind of unique in its emotional way to storytell. Remember the commercial that came out?
Oh yeah,
was the.
I take it back.
All
3 games are emotional,
and it's the first time you had such a sad song
Mad
with
World.
Action, you know, and the big monster. That was. One of the reasons, one of the charms, just the flair of the game.
I forgot about that. You're right. I would say the first one is emotional too. Yeah. Not as emotional because, like I said, I think the game was still finding its footing. And then the second one came out. That's, by the way, another example of the previous question, an excellent sequel. Gears 1 to Gears 2.
Yeah, I agree.
Very good. Gears 2 is what gave us Horde mode. It's essentially what made Horde mode popular.
Yeah.
But... I think the reason the scenes are so powerful in Gears 3 is because of the character development you get with these characters through number 1, number 2, and then the conclusion of number 3.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's games that come out nowadays that have that type of character development?
So, yes. And I'm going to put this as my second answer.
Okay.
Because when I played this game and when I finished this game, I... stared at the wall for 3 days, just in sheer like, oh my gosh, what would I do? And I'm talking about The Last of Us, Naughty Dog.
Oh yes,
I would.
Very good.
It was an emotionally draining game,
and they did that character development over the course of one game.
Yeah, all in one game, and how they told the story, and how you grew to like the characters, and the decisions at the end which you make. And the repercussions of that decision and what you were doing the whole time up to that point, you cannot tell that story any way that's a better way than they did it. If you look at any other way, the characters. Okay, I'm gonna try to be as anti-spoiler as possible. If you were to have that story told any other way, the protagonist could be considered the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It could, but how they told it, you get it. And the decision that you make, you understand. It's like why Thanos was such a good bad guy up until the last movie. You get his perspective. And you're like, I guess.
You may not like the perspective, but you understand
it. Yeah. And you are the one playing as this character. And I remember just standing in the shower, staring at the wall, going, oh my gosh.
Well, I remember you told me that, and I did play it, and I beat it. And the ending, you do think about the ending. The ending, I would say the only 2 games that really made me think about their endings for a while is that game, The Last of Us, and BioShock Infinite, if you guys ever remember that one. It just made you sit there and go, huh. And you're sitting there like a couple days, you're sitting there eating lunch, and it just hits you like, huh. You know, and you're like thinking like, huh.
Like, you're thinking, I don't usually think philosophy.
Yeah.
But you're thinking, well, all right.
No, I think...
I get what went down.
I think that's a good one. That's a really good one. That one, Gears... Those are emotional. Do you think so? That even if you take The Last of Us, though, The Last of Us is what 8-year-old game, 9-year-old game.
Yeah, it was at the end of the cycle. Same when GTA came out. End of the cycle of the last console.
I mean, I guess I would say GTA has good character development. I almost feel like when I think of games of character. No, I'm right because Red Dead Redemption 2 has good character development as well.
Excellent.
I would say The Witcher 3 has good character development, but I would also say the character development is good because of 1 and 2. You know what I mean?
That's another emotional roller coaster near the end of the story of Red Dead Redemption 2 when you're climbing the mountain. Holy smokes, right? I'm not going to spoil anything, but you're climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
All right, I spoiled that. You're climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
But when things go down and you're like, oh my gosh.
I wasted all that investment.
Don't say that. I know. And you're like, oh man, because everybody has experienced something like that. What's that game? Ori and the Blind Forest.
Oh, that's another emotional game.
Great game with great music by Coker.
Theirs is good because they're essentially telling the story of these characters through the gameplay, really.
Yeah.
And the music.
And the music comes into play. Very good. Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, very good question. Rose City Gamer writes in and says, "G'day, bros. Outrider seems to be a hit, but this game is not billed as a, quote, games as a service type. However, what kind of endgame / future game content do you think we can or should expect from the developer?" So, this is a tough one because he's right. It's not billed as a games as a service, so theoretically, they could just make the game stable, put in a couple patches, give us a little content here, and be done with it, right? Theoretically, the way this game is like he said, billed is it's a full package in the box. What I would like to see, and this is just me, I think their boss fights are very well done. I would like to see more boss fights. I don't think you necessarily need to raise the number of players. I mean, you can do boss fights that require 3 players. You don't need to have like a raid of 10, 20 people. I think the player count is fine. The boss fights and mechanics, especially with one of the bosses that I fought, the spider boss, which is fantastic, and everybody will know what I'm talking about if you've been to that part. But even their mini bosses, like their gameplay loop within their mini bosses, it's just it keeps you moving, it keeps you thinking. You have to. I like it because it's like in World of Warcraft when I like as this character, I have a job. I need to interrupt that ability. If I don't interrupt that ability, we're gonna wipe. You know, I like the importance of having a job. And I talked about this earlier, I like the difficulty of the game on the higher world tier levels where it's not difficult. I like the fact that if I don't interrupt this guy's ability, he's going to do something that will ultimately kill me unless I'm just a god and can recover from it. You know, so yeah. I like that. I like their big boss fights, which I talked about last week. I would like to see them add more boss fights. And the way you can do that is just add a new zone and just maybe have a couple bosses on it. You can do bosses that require multiple people, multiple different classes. That would be fun. I don't think you necessarily need to raise the player number, but I would love to see new bosses.
Well, they could just do DLCs like a Dark Souls game.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's what that game is.
The game is bosses,
right?
Yeah. So very cool. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
So, but very fun. Toxic Buttwind. What up, bros? I recently had 3 months off for maternity leave. I had an extra month off for a broken toe.
Ouch!
Yeah, ouch. That does hurt. I really thought about...
Oh, I was talking about the 3... No, just kidding.
Oh,
no, the broken toe sucks.
Yeah. I really thought about starting a stream, but my 10-year-old seems interested too. What age do you guys consider too young to stream? Keep up the good job and love the channel. Thank you, Toxic Bookwind. That is a good question because I do think there are certain rules on Twitch and YouTube about ages of streaming. For sure, and for good reason.
Yes. Like Bill Burr says, 87% of the internet is really sucky people, right? So, 87% of the world sucks. That's, I think, the actual statistic.
Yeah.
And you don't want your kids having to deal with all that stuff. That's a really good question.
I think that being said, I do think there's a couple streamers on Twitch that are under 18, but I do think they have to have I think there was a controversy with that as well. I think they had their parents there with them.
Yeah.
But I think there was even a controversy of that. Nothing bad happened, thankfully, but I just think it was I don't know the full story, but I think Twitch said, "Hey, we don't know if we can do this or not," type of thing. You know what I mean? So it does get hard. That is a tough question. And because of that, I might just say 18.
Yeah, I might go a little younger. I might say 17, because if we're gonna do this, okay, let's get a layout here. The age between 3 and 16 is you're honing your skills.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
17
train them.
to 28.
17 to 28 is when they're doing the full
Is
throttle.
prime.
Yeah, that's when they're in their prime. That's when you're raking in the money. But I do know that with the old Xboxes, not the old Xboxes, the previous generation of Xbox, Microsoft's Mixer was being Mixer. That's now Facebook Gaming, but it used to be integrated into the boxes. And I know some nieces and nephews of mine would stream, but they would not have their mic. And so it was just gameplay.
Camera.
Or camera. Mm-hmm. They just streamed, and there was no mic or anything like that. I think it could be a good way to learn about how streaming works, as long as they're not interested in getting popular like the big streamers. I think streaming is a really good way for kids to learn how technology works, how streaming works. You'll have to learn, if you want to get at a decent level, you'll have to learn how codecs work. You'll have to learn a little bit how bitrate works, audio quality, stuff like that. I think it's a good learning tool as long as there's no expectations of greatness. And I know that you can let other family members watch as well. I would do that. I would hop into my nephew's streams and enjoy that. But as far as opening them up to the wide, wide world of awful internet trolls and
let's be honest, they're out there.
Yeah, they are. One of the saddest videos I've ever seen is the kid that was streaming, and then he gave his... on the PlayStation, you could give control.
Was it the Destiny thing?
Yeah, you could give control to someone else, and the kid was giving control to another internet player because he said he could do something, and then he went in and deleted all his Gallahorn.
He lied to the kid.
He lied to the kid, deleted all his stuff, and then you could just hear the kid sobbing, right?
I know. I do think, because it was like legendary. It was like hard. I do think, end of the story, made me happy. I do think Bungie gave that kid his stuff back.
They did.
So, yeah.
They did. They saw that video and they gave it back. But you want to prevent that, so I believe the thick enough skin happens post high school. Because
high school is when you develop it.
Junior high, you realize, holy crap, people suck. Then high school hits and they're like, oh my gosh, let me grow some thick skin and deal with this. I think that social development of, okay, I don't care what people think kind of a thing happens around 17, 18, 19, hopefully at that point. I think that 17 might be one of the more safer. Jordan's probably the better answer, 18 plus, but that's a long answer. But there's a lot of good things that you learn with streaming. But as long as you make sure that you realize that, lock it down.
Well, I'm trying to think like if my kids came up to me, I have a little boy and a girl, right? They're not old enough to necessarily play games yet, but if they were to come up to me at a certain age and say, hey, can I start streaming? I would think, yeah, when you can vote, you can stream. Like that's,
no, it really does.
Because it's hard. It's just, if you're there with them, I mean, it's different, but it's still hard because your kids are still going to see stuff. If and this is all under the impression, like if you get a troll in chat, it's hard when you're younger. It's hard.
When David started streaming, I told him, or when we all started streaming, you're going to get thick skin and you're going to get used to that banhammer. And
yeah.
David.
And you're going to learn how to ignore people.
He became ruthless. Like, oh, really? Fuck, ban. And that's the point we want to get to people without having their feelings hurt so much, right? Yeah. So you want them to be a little bit older, although you could probably have them stream at a very limited faction.
Well, then, of course, you have to look at the guidelines between YouTube and Twitch, depending on where you're looking at streaming. Because, like I said, I know there's guidelines that say you have to be certain ages, and I know there was controversy on Twitch with the one younger streamer. So it just depends on what you can do, I guess. And I think your answer was really good.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks.
Anyway, Toxic, thank you for writing in the question. Last question of the day comes from Nick. Hey, bros, happy Friday. I recently got the Xbox wireless headset. It was my first real experience with a gaming headset since before I used my TV speakers. It is game-changing. I can hear everything around me, giving me an edge, in shooters especially. What gaming accessory what gaming accessory the first time you used it completely changed the way you played games? Thanks for all you do.
That's a good question.
Hey, welcome to the world of headsets, by the way. Because I remember when I got my first good headset.
Yeah.
And it really does, especially if you're playing a lot of shooters, it really does make a difference.
Well, I remember when I first got my Turtle Beaches, those cheap Turtle Beaches with Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, they're upstairs. I can totally hear where they are.
You like look up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. What's your favorite accessory?
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say the instant mapping button on the Elite controllers.
Oh, that is, yeah.
To be able to quickly switch profiles to inverted, southpaw, and the Elite. Although I have issues with the Elite, I think the bumper should be stronger, and I believe the warranty should be longer for a $200 controller. That said, the feature is amazing for a southpaw player like me. I'm a southpaw player. And being able to flip games quickly on the fly with just a switch of the button. There are some games that give you those controls for standard gameplay, and then they don't give you southpaw controls for car driving or vehicle driving. Mm-hmm. So I can't... Oh, it was like Mafia 3 was a good example of them giving you half controls. So every time I would play as a character, I'd be fine. But when I got into a car and started driving, everything was backwards and wonky and not able to invert. But then I would just flip the switch and I'm good, and then flip the switch back and I'm good. A little tedious, but that made it able for me to play games that I otherwise would not normally be able to play. So I like button mapping. I think button mapping should be standard and should always be standard. Very deep button mapping in every game. I think it's not easy, or it's not hard to implement, but some developers don't. Like Nintendo.
They don't let you touch anything.
They don't let you customize. They don't even let me turn music off.
If you don't want to play the game we intended, then don't play our game.
I think button mapping should be essential, and having it on the hardware side makes it so the software, the devs, even if they don't do it, I can still play their game regardless.
Well, it was great with the Elite controller. Other than, like I said, I think they break too easily. Mine broke. I had to go buy a new controller that does the same thing. It's not an Elite controller this time; it's a different brand. But I like because I used to, even within shooters, I would have different button schemes for Battlefield 5 than I would Warzone.
Sure.
So it's nice to go profile 1 is Battlefield, and then click. Profile 3 is Warzone.
Yeah.
Whatever I want to do, but. Excellent. I think I'm gonna be weird because I think this was like
aimbot, right?
Yeah, aimbot. You know those new Alienware things or Alien, whatever they're not Alienware, but they're aliens anyway. No, my favorite thing, and I think with a lot more games going cross play with PC, is you remember the keyboard pad that used to plug into the bottom of your controller so you could type really quickly?
Yeah.
I think that thing was amazing, and there was a time this week actually when I wanted that. Because I was playing Sea of Thieves. I was playing Sea of Thieves, and something happened. And I was in the right, by the way. But something happened, and this guy on the PC messaged something a little bit derogatory to me, right? And I had a good reply, not to be a jerk, but I had a reply of why I did what I did. Because we were opposing. We weren't on the same team, so I wasn't being like a team killer or anything. So let me just tell you what happened. Can I just tell you what happened?
Okay, just go for it.
So we're playing. I was actually playing with Barbara Blake, and he had an Athena...
chest,
not a chest, but the bomb. Like
okay.
It was one of the bombs, the TNTs, but it was the good ones that was worth a lot of money. This guy snuck on our ship and he hid there, and he stole it. And then I saw him run. And I said he stole. And Blake had a feeling he was there because I came in late, and he was like, "I think there's a guy here. We just gotta watch out for him." He stole it, and he was gonna go turn it in. Now, if he turns it in, I think you get an achievement for stealing a opposite crew's Athena item, and he gets all that currency and money because it's worth a lot. So this is my thing. If I'm not getting it, you're not getting it.
Exactly.
So I shot it, and it blew up, and he died. Right? And I said, if I'm not getting it, you're not getting it. Right? I don't care. You just, I can still turn on all this crap. You wasted 2 hours of your life. Right? That's how I felt. Hey, we're pirates, man. That's, it's PvP. Yeah. So he messaged me a derogatory thing calling me stupid. And he did it in game because he was from the PC. And I was like, no, you're wrong. I went to type back like, look, if I'm not getting it, you're not getting it. I feel like I'm validated in that, right? So I was gonna type that in, but I couldn't because you can't type on the Xbox, and so that's why I was like, oh man, I wish I really had those little that old keyboard gamepad that you can plug in, so I can trash talk more appropriately.
Yeah, and that's in game, so it's not even Xbox Live, so you can't just Windows G it.
Yeah. Yeah,
type it that way.
So it was, So it sucks. I actually, even if I didn't have that little dongle that you used to be able to plug into your controller on the 360, I wish Sea of Thieves would let me type custom messages within the Xbox. I don't know why they don't. You can't say we do it for safety because they cross-play with PC and they let them do it,
Well, PC is the master race, right?
Yeah. So I tried to like quickly log over to the PC and because I wanted to tell because it made me mad. He was like, "What?" Because he said something and it was calling me stupid for shooting the thing, and it was like, "Dude, you were 10 feet away from turning that in."
You got him at 10 feet?
Well, no. He was because he was running, and I found him, and I just shot, and it hit the barrel.
Oh,
right?
That's
he was
awesome.
He was close to turning in. He was trying to go like an odd way to dodge.
Good
us,
for you.
But he was trying to turn in, and I'm thinking and I'm even sitting there telling Blake, I'm like, Blake, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to say, hey, you're right, you stole it. It's a good item. I need to let you go. No.
You're supposed to say, pirate.
Oh,
Pirate.
Dark Knight. Thank you so much in chat. I did not know that. If you press down on the D-pad, you can. I did not even think of that. That is excellent. They do. Everybody says they do. Okay, everybody, I am wrong. I didn't know they had that. Excellent job, Sea of Thieves. That was just my fault.
User error.
Yeah, user error. No, pressing down on the D-pad lets you do that. Awesome. Thank you.
Super Shocker in chat has a super chat. He says, I want them to bring back the battery pack that was a part of the 360 controller. Once you ran out of batteries, you just popped in a new pack of AA's. I mean, yeah, I mean, as an option, yeah. I prefer recharge. Well,
we talked about this last week a little bit. Why don't they do rechargeables?
They do. I think I had the ones that you could recharge and pop out and pop in. You can still recharge them. Wait, do they not have that anymore?
I know they had it for I had one on my Xbox Series S, so the previous generation here. What it did is it actually plugged into the front USB of the Series S, and one charged while I was playing with one.
Yeah.
And then I took that one out, put it on the charger and put that one in. So,
well, I do know that Jordan used to. I don't know if he still does, but he burns through AA's fast.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Remember
you came over.
I brought him over a 20-pack
on like a Monday.
Monday, it was gone on Friday.
Yeah, because you were like, I was like, I gotta change my batteries. You're like, did I just give you like 5? I was like, they're gone.
I brought over 20 packs.
They suck the juice. Now I just plug in directly because I'm so close anyway.
Yeah.
But no, thank you, Dark Knight. That is good to know. Next time someone tries to trash talk me, and by the way, I mean, am I in the right? Like, if I'm not getting it, you're not getting it. That was my thing, right?
The fact that he was so close, and there was no chance of you killing him or anything. Yeah. I think that's one of the most epic shots I've heard.
And
of.
I think the reason
that's a shot heard around the world.
I think the reason he was pissed is because he knew he just wasted 2 hours of his life, because we then killed him afterwards, right? So he just got spawned back to his ship. But anyway,
that's I actually think I would have been like, wow, nice shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was chasing him. So
I
it's not
screwed
like
you.
you
screwed me.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, if I'm gonna get screwed, so are you. That was the idea. But anyway, that was funny.
Yeah,
anyway,
Dieter Pinkler just says, "Dude, you're a pirate, and you exploded his booty. That's the ideal situation."
Yeah, he was just mad because he wasted 2 hours of his life, and I still got because we had other Athena stuff on the ship too.
That's so great.
So, it was great. I love. This may sound bad. I may be a part of the 82%, but there's a feeling you get when you do something like that in a game, like a PvP game, right? So not cheating or anything, just a normal PvP scenario. But there's a feeling you get when you do that to someone in a game and they're thinking about uninstalling their game. That just makes you feel good. Like, I think it happens a lot in Tarkov. When I play a lot of Escape from Tarkov, you're like, I know that guy's
I
pissed.
know exactly what you're talking about. The only decks I play in Hearthstone are the ones where they disconnect. Because you can tell when it says your opponent left the game. That means they hit the X and they're out doing something else now.
There's just a feeling when you do that.
Yeah, and it's the cards that I have troll decks, and they make me just
smile
because it happens to you, and you're like, oh my, I'm making that deck,
and that's how it evens out. because it happens to you too. And because let's be honest, as gamers, we've all been in that situation, especially in multiplayer PvP games, where you get frustrated and you're ready to uninstall the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Super Shocker, thank you very much for your super chat. That was really nice of you.
And that's our show. That's all our questions.
That's it.
I think we made it through pretty decently without David.
Yeah. Why do we even have him? Actually, you know what it is? It's you. I want to say it's you. You're the anchor. When me and David do the show, we're talking about. Actually, we did talk about robot wieners today, didn't we?
yeah, we did. Metal Gear Solid.
Man, I don't know. I guess we have the wiener jokes even without David. I don't know. No, you did a really good job, Jordan. I think I'm going to make you be the host from now on.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel weird sitting over here because I feel like I need to look at the camera, and then I feel like I need to talk to you. Like I feel we get used to our spots. Like it's
I know.
It's hard, but no, we will be back. Remember, Game Club of the Month is Outriders. It's on Game Pass, so feel free to download it. It's Game Pass for the Xbox. Unfortunately, not on the PC just yet, but on your Xbox, you can download it for free and play and jump in Discord and let us know. We do streams on Mondays and Wednesdays, and we do have a very special announcement next week with David, so be sure to tune in for that. And last but not least, join our new pre-show events where you can come on stage and ask us questions and join us every week before the show.
That's it. Thanks, everybody. We love you. Bye-bye.
I'm looking